Peace of the Lord be with you. This is the Son of the Most Sorrowful YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about recreation versus escapism and what's the difference, right? So, among Catholics, you will see there's men that still have a drink. You know what I mean? They don't get drunk, but they have a drink, right? You have men that they don't sit and smoke all day long, but they enjoy a cigar or they enjoy a tobacco pipe. You know what I mean? But I think the most constructive, because those things, in my personal experience, because I mean, I have as I've said in previous videos, I do have a personality that is predisposed to addiction. So I have to live for the most part vice free. I would say all the way. The ideal is all the way vice free. I still allow myself to have some coffee. I'm drinking some right now. But I try not to get carried away with past 2 cups of coffee, even on the day where I'm like really tired. But and I try not to make it a point to drink it every day, right? Because the addicted personality, you can really get carried away with anything, sugar, fitness, you know. So anyways, I digress. But the most ideal forms of recreation, I think, are exercise, um, games, wholesome games. I would say maybe like going out to kick the soccer ball, sports, with some friends. Um, Board games if you're playing chess, if that's kind of like your thing. If it's not your thing, I think it's really worthwhile to get into it. Um, Reading is a really good way to practice recreation. So what is recreation? I think we should just define the word. It's to recreate yourself, right? What do I mean by that? I think so in having a prayer life and having a spiritual life and being a human being, right? Even though we were designed to pray for countless hours and be in the presence of God for countless hours, um, even the Lord understands that we reach a point where we need to recharge, right? So we can keep going, so we can return to the Lord and be in His presence for longer periods of time. Okay, so it's really important to have constructive ways of recreating yourself. Having a hobby, I think, is really a powerful way to practice recreation. Um, like if you take time out of your day, for me personally, I would really like to get to working on bikes, you know, and like becoming a bike mechanic is something that I find really appealing. And soothing and it's a really healthy way to get your reward system to give it a healthy rhythm, I want to say. So another good way to recreate yourself is obviously don't get carried away with your recreational activities. You want to have moderation over these things. What do I mean by that? Because I think cooking can be something that's recreational, or baking can be something that's recreational. Baking is starting to grow in popularity. Maybe it was always popular among women, right? But as a man, you can bake. As a man, you can bake some solid bread. The good King Wenceslas actually, even though he was a really super wealthy king, humbled himself to go down to the kitchen and bake the hosts that were used in communion at the Holy Mass. Okay, so get into cooking, man. Get into baking some bread, and you can use it to feed the homeless. You can use it to feed your family, your loved ones. Just the other day, I was here with my cousins, and I was we got together and we made jalapeno cream cheese bread, right? Um, because I wanted to my youngest cousin Natalie, I wanted to get her off the screen for a period of time. I wanted to help her engage in something that is recreational, that is constructive. You know, that will be a helpful skill to her later in life. I think it's a helpful skill to you as a man also to learn to bake some bread, man. You know what I mean? So cooking is a good example. Baking is a good example of recreation. Reading, you know what I mean? Uh, I just got. I'm getting more into reading this year as like a habit. But I just went to my local library and I picked up a copy of Charlie Kirk's book, The College Scam, and it's okay to read, man. It's definitely a, excuse me, it's definitely a lot better than doom scrolling on your phone for your brain. Uh, get yourself a set of Lord of the Rings and read the Lord of the Rings, man. If you never read the Lord of the Rings, there's nothing wrong with reading stories about characters acting in a virtuous way, or bringing themselves to respond to the call to action to go and fight evil. You know what I mean? I'm just saying maybe don't get into like reading about witches and the occult and stuff like that. Try to keep it pure, man. That's the thing. You know what I mean? So that's recreation. Now, what is escapism? Because we're talking about recreation versus escapism. Because I feel like a lot of times the two get confused. So escapism is like bringing your soul and your mind and your body towards a state where you're numbing yourself, where you're checking out, where you're feeding an addiction, where you're cultivating pleasure in a destructive way. Pleasure, ultimately, when it's disordered, when it's outside of the frame of recreation, I would say pretty much 100% of the time it is very destructive, right? You know what I mean? Um, and I may get a lot of heat for talking about this and saying like, you know, uh, because there are men who can drink and smoke in moderation, right? And while the church doesn't like totally outlaw or condemn smoking or drinking, uh, large and by, uh, you become a stronger man. I wanna drive the point there. You become a much stronger man. That isn't to take away from people that smoke and drink and live virtuously, okay? But you become a much stronger man when you uh, choose other means of recreation, right? Large and by what the problem is today. Um, and something that really impressed me, just not a little side note, something that really impressed me about the youth today is that alcohol sales have actually plummeted for the first time in a long time. You know, Gen Z is really not picking up the bottle. So praise be to God that you guys are, you know, it's kind of funny because non-alcoholic drinks have really risen in popularity. I was reading or I saw that Tom Holland is making a killing with his non-alcoholic beer company. So good for that guy, I guess. Uh, but that's the thing, man. It's just you become a stronger man when you turn away from smoking as recreation. You know what I mean? Even in moderation. From drinking in moderation, even in recreation, right? Um, and it's kind of funny, like because even monks drink. Monks are the ones responsible for having excellent means of brewing beer, right? I found that out not that long ago, actually, a couple of years back, I want to say. Um, but still, man, it really because again, the church doesn't condemn drinking. The church doesn't condemn smoking. It condemns doing these things in excess, right? Um, but that that is the point that I want to drive home. Is you will be a much stronger man in mind, in spirit, and physically. You will live longer without these things as recreation. In escapism, what are some examples of escapism? Uh, 21st century idolatry, right? Going to the concerts, uh, giving all that love, all that worship to, I mean, your favorite band, your favorite. I used to, you know what I mean. I no longer do these things. Not because I'm better, but because I lived that way for a long time in the entertainment industry, and I realized myself that I wasn't really helping people's lives get better. I was not helping them construct anything. I was helping them run away from their problems, which I was going to concerts to run away from my problems. And obviously, like, people argue, oh, we get recharged. I used to say that too. You know what I mean? Um, but the point is, if you want to grow in holiness, if you want to grow in virtue, you don't want to go out into the world, into the pleasures of the world, into the lusts of the world, and then come back to the Savior like nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? Recreation is free from idolatry. Recreation is free from vice. Recreation is free from the love of created things, material things. A lot of time there is a material means to recreate through material things like books, like working on cars or bikes, mechanical stuff, uh, building things, you know. But you do those things for a time to return to the Lord, refreshed, recreated, uh, re-inspired. You know what I mean? A lot of escapism, devices of escapism, activities of escapism really lend themselves towards emptiness, addiction, a lack of desire to return to virtue, a lack of desire to, you know, return to a life of sacrifice. You know what I mean? So I hope that helps, like, bring some clarity to that, and what recreation can do to help you elevate spiritually when done moderately. You know what I mean? So I hope this video encourages you to choose recreation over escapism. Um, and this has been the Son of the Most Sorrowful. I pray in Jesus' mighty name that the peace of the Lord be always with you by the intercession of our Blessed Mother, the Virgin Mary. And I'll see you at the next one. God bless you.